All right, I got this CNC machine about a little over a month ago, and I've made 20, 30 projects with it, and I've had a ball with it. It was filling my shop up with dust, and the noise was pretty loud. I had, of course, shop vac dust boots on it with the broom and all that stuff. And I watched on web for quite a few different boxes. And this box is made out of 1-inch blue foam. And it's basically like an ice chest that just sits over the top of the table. And I basically have just a vent hose that comes out of the hole there. And whenever I need to stick it in, this is just taking all of the light dust that filled my garage up and takes it out and filters it out and sends it through the dust deputy and then back through the paper filter. Now, if you don't have a dust deputy, you're just not thinking it through, because that device puts all the dust down in that box and none of it comes back in your filters. I've also got one on my shop vac, and I filled that 5-gallon can up 3 or 4 times in the last couple of weeks from CNC shaving. Of course, I've got the hose on the reel that goes out into the middle of the garage. But I've never had to clean that filter, and I've had that in there over a year now. Never once had to clean that shop vac filter. So between the two of them, it's pretty nice. I am reminded of the process when I other clean my other shop vac filter. But anyway, all this is just a real light duty foam box. And when the fan's on, I've got air that's coming in right here, and then it sucks it up, goes over there to that side. Now I kept the hose down because most of the dust is going to be at the cutter level. And then to lift this thing up, it's just basically like, this thing only weighs a couple pounds because it's blue foam. And I did paint it with a acrylic latex paint. And what that does is, let me put you down here for just a second. Put my kickboard in here. And I don't have that perfected as of yet, but it's really not too much of a problem. Basically, I just made a notched board, put a notch on it there, and I can get fancier with it. But I don't like a lot of complicated stuff. It has a tendency to bite you. There's nothing inside this but just a styrofoam box with one hole in it. The lexan that I put on here, I just cut all 4 glasses at the same time, drilled all the holes through all of them, and then it just sandwiched it over the foam with a little bitty bolts. And this is a Shark HD 510. It'll cut a 25 by 25 piece. But anyway, when that foam, which is, it's just basically it's 1-inch foam, and there's a picture of it there, but that's basically 1 inch. And I use Gorilla Glue, the foam kind, and what you do is you wet the joint when you glue it up, and it bonds tight. And then I use a drywall screw, fine thread, to hold it. I just leave them in there because they don't weigh a whole lot. But as you can see, it bonds that foam pretty nicely. Now I could make them perfect with a little patching plaster, because that's what the modelers do. But anyway, and then I was too cheap to go buy another piece, so I just bonded 2 pieces together and put a piece over the top of it. But the table is a Grizzly shop fox table with the locking wheels. And in my small shop, everything comes out on wheels, and then it parks back up against the walls. But what I did is I got the maple top with the machine, and then I added on top of that MDF, and I trimmed it with some old cherry just to protect the top of that maple countertop. And then when I decided to put this box on, I went ahead and figured my clearances between here and here with the arm that slides back and forth, and give myself about 2 inches on each side all the way around it. So when it goes all the way to the back, it doesn't touch. When it comes all the way to the front, it doesn't touch. When left and right, it doesn't touch. So this is the clearance on this side. This side's a little bit shallower, not quite. And all your sawdust basically just comes in, and it fills that up a little bit. Back up here, I can CNC for an hour and carving. and these will have dust in it, but I'm getting no dust on the ground now. That's the best thing. And then whenever I get ready to clean it, you know, I basically just drop the foam down, just pulled out this lever, it lifts down, and then I can come around the backside, take this out of it, lift it up, and clean the other side of it real easy. The whole thing will actually lift up straight up. Of course, my garage door's up there, and but I can get it to go straight up and pull it out of there if I need to. So when it comes time to greasing the machine and doing maintenance on it, this all just comes off there just really quick. And you know, it's a two-handed operation, but the whole thing doesn't weigh. This thing here is just a big ice chest out of the blue foam. So it's working really well. It dampens the sound enough to where when you're standing here next to it, two people can sit out here. All right, so just to clean this thing, you basically lift it up, take your vacuums, put your posts in there, vacuum around it on the trays on the sides, and then set her back down. Come around the back side, lift it up, and run your vacuum sweeper in there, and you got it cleaned up in, you know, almost no time at all. And it just sits back on top of there. It's you know, enough of a loose fit that it just kind of swings in there. But this box is made out of the 1-inch blue foam, Gorilla Glue, and it makes a nice box. One thing about the Gorilla Glue, you use the kind for foam. You wet both sides with a wet towel or a wet rag, then apply your glue, and then the glue makes it activate. But it bonds it. I mean, yeah, the foam will actually break almost to the point where, I mean, it's some pretty good glue. And then I ran over it, of course, with an orbital sander just to clean up the old glue. But when it foams up, if you look in the corner over there, when it foams up, it'll get a little jaggedy on the inside, but I don't really care about it. And then that's just a little LED light that lights it up. And we cut a big Wahoo board with it here yesterday, so I had to move the light out to the outside because it was cutting the whole size of that table. But I'll just set it up on a box right here and let it shine in so you can see it perfectly good. But the sound dampening and the dust collection, this is a win-win for it. And this is a waste of money here as far as I'm concerned. All right, I'm going to make a one of these. This is just a present that I give to the boys when they came into our FCF. It's got our emblem in it and the boys' names at the bottom and the date. And this is made out of some recycled red oak. And basically what this does is it turns it into a, once you jig it up, I just put the little 1/4-inch red oak deals, put them in there, and then I put a screw in each side, one at the end to hold it down. And that's my clamping method. And then when I'm ready to pull that, I just back the screws out. But this right here is what I just cut out of there. And of course, I just dropped it and knocked the tabs out of it. But it's already been cut, hadn't been sanded or anything. I am starting to mill all of the edges so that there's a lot smoother, so this cut will be in that direction there. So that's what I'm basically doing. I milled up about 10 of these boxes like this, and they were a pretty good hit. So I'm going to make a few more for some presentations this week. And I've got my zero set up. I'm going ahead and I just changed my cutter out. I'll bring it down and hit my plate. Move my plate up here, and then touch the plate as there goes. Aggressive, and it's cutting, and that's just a router bit. It's nothing fancy. Without this enclosure here, I wouldn't even be able to hear you, and you wouldn't be able to hear me. So it's doing a good job. You can see that the chips are being set out. the router actually blows the stuff out considerably, so that's not even down in there, so you can see what's going on. And I have aggressively cutting. The first few I did, I had multiple passes going, and you know, I found out that I didn't need to do that. If you cut them too slow, you'll burn your wood. And so that's the first pocket of the first one's gonna move over and do the other pocket. And again, it's aggressive. This one I put some ramps in it, and it's not quite as aggressive in the cuts. It doesn't have to go down as deep. But that one's probably, I would say, it's more set up for the right stuff. The router doesn't grind as much. But as you can see, it's quite a mess. If you come in here, back away, you know, it's still not too bad. That's the dust collector is pretty good. You can't hear this out at the street, so with the driveway, so that's really was accurate. But the air, look at the air quality, there's no dust. And before I had dust everywhere with the other vacuum hooked up to it, and it would throw it all over the floor. It was all over everything, all over all the tools, and that was not good for me. So this is working real well. Just about to finish up on that last cut. Going around there for that last pocket. And then we'll lift it up and do a bit change. Alright, going back to 0. Alright, that's with the shop vac going. I can turn it off a little bit while we're talking. But basically, I'm ready for a bit change. I'll hit the stop button on here. Exit. And exit out of that, and go up. And we'll change the this bit out, put a quarter in round in there. Also, you can pick these up from your tool supplier. They're like, the collets are $5 a piece. Pick you up 4 or 5 of them, because when them bits get hot and you're trying to pull them out, you'll slice your little fingers up. And these are like only $5 a piece. So you know, that's a real good tip as far as I'm concerned, is to load up 4 or 5 of them and have them with all your bits that you're using. I bought the 5-bit case, and I'll probably buy 4 or 5 more of these, the 1/4 inch, and they're $5 a piece, so it's a good investment. All right, I've zeroed this in, getting ready for the next operation. There's all the dust from the previous, just the cutting of 2 pockets, and as you can see, no dust or stuff on the floor. So all I'm going to do is drop the kickboard here, and all I have is just a notch on this, and it just sits right back down inside there. Couple little things. Was something I did find is I went ahead, I had bought another wrench because I'd lost the other wrench for tightening your collet on your router, and I've been using this, and I found out that this is actually a better tool because the thickness of this tool goes right up against the base of the router, and it fits on the nut perfectly. So once you just slide it up in there, you don't have to wonder if you're on the nut or not. And then the other wrench, so that speeds up changing your bits. All right, we're going to load up off of the USB. We're going to go to this one and double check that it's the 1/4 inch. Click next and start, and away it goes. I have it drill those holes just in case I need to use it for alignment. And basically it's on the center line, and this thing's going to go around and cut out the rims of the box. And right now it's going around here, and it'll cut out all these edges around it. It'll take about 15-20 minutes to go ahead and do it. It does all the pockets in here and cuts the pockets out, and then once that's all done, I'll put a V-bit in, and it'll clean up all those edges. So I'm going to go inside and let this do its thing. Right now it's just over there cutting away, and again, no dust on the floor, nothing around it, all stays in the tracks. in the box. When I'm done, I'll just take a vac and go around it and clean it up. And it only takes a minute or two versus sitting there with a vacuum sweeper, vacuum in, vacuum in, vacuum in. All right, this is in the house, just inside the garage door, so it's not unbearable. Before it was pretty noisy. Here's my wife going through her Bible notes. And she has lots of Bible. I just stomped her in Wahoo. This is a Wahoo board that I put on there and created in about 45 minutes on this CNC. And we call it CNC. And then my son came down and we made a 6-sided Wahoo board. And so we're putting it to all kinds of good work. All right, just got through milling up those inner parts. I'm going to clean up those edges with a V-bit now. I've got it zeroed in, and we're going to close this down with that little guy and turn the dust collection back on and let it do its thing. Alright, it's going around the edge. I'm doing it in 2 passes. Basically just cleaning up that beveled edge, going down and making it smoother where I don't have to really get in and sand it. They can do it faster than I can. I was just doing it on the bench, on the sander, but it does not much needed job more consistently. And around the outside. The first one is just lightly cleaning it up, and the second one will go around and down and clean it up a little bit more. There it goes down. You can just put the bevel on it. I could probably do that all in one step. I added a couple more steps to this process where it trims the inside from the outside. Having it going around and trimming that's a new cut, so I'm watching it, see if it's doing its thing right. Go down, clean it up. Doing the other edge now. All right, I just got through cleaning up making a couple of those things, and there's the dust. As you can see on the floor here, there's really nothing to speak of. A little bit right there. I'm going to clean that up with just a real quick dust deputy cleanup, and we'll get back to you.